They're promising an AI empire, but data center construction is a mirage of half-truths, fudged numbers, and physical delays. The AI overbuild is hitting a wall. Hi, I'm Brian. I'm an investment advisor. I manage portfolios for investors like you. Let's talk market forces. In part one of AI Snake Oil, I pulled back the curtain on the massive wave of AI hype being driven by tech CEOs and the media. As the stock market treats their frontier LLM models as the undisputed future of humanity, a growing chorus of prominent computer scientists, tech reporters, and industry defectors are starting to reveal why the AI overinvestment bubble is going to burst soon. I'm extremely bullish on AI as a technology, but I'm bearish on the business strategy of the hyperscalers like Amazon, Google, and Microsoft, and their debt-laden clients like OpenAI and Anthropic. The winners of the AI revolution won't be the companies that are burning billions of dollars today to build the fastest Formula One race car that are these massive LLMs. The winners are going to be nimble, specialized firms that step in to provide highly specialized systems to solve specific business problems and deliver actual scalable value. Now, in part two, we're going to look at the cold hard facts behind the looming collapse. I'm not going to talk about the valuation bubble in the stock market, but about the physical, real-world overbuild of catastrophic proportions. The tech giants are burning cash at an unprecedented rate, promising Wall Street a digital empire, while hiding the facts that their actual construction pipelines are stalled, gridlocked, and drowning in delays. The scale of capital expenditure, or CapEx, from the major hyperscalers is staggering. Driven by the unrelenting race for AI dominance, the biggest tech companies have sent their spending forecast into overdrive. The four largest hyperscalers, Amazon, Microsoft, Google, and Meta, are on track to spend a combined $710 to $750 billion in 2026 alone. That's about 75% more than they spent last year in 2025. The vast majority of that spend will be funneled directly into AI infrastructure, including data centers, servers, custom chips, and networking equipment. There's no doubt data centers are being built, but reliable information about data center construction progress is very hard to find, and the information that does exist, in the words of tech reporter Ed Zitron, quote, is continually muddled by terrible reporting, end quote. Incomplete projects are called, quote, operational when only part of them are complete. Amazingly, hyperscalers do not disclose how many data centers they've built, nor do they disclose how much capacity is online or available. Amazon, Google, Meta, and Microsoft have spent over $800 billion in AI CapEx in the last 3 years. They're public companies. You'd think the investors would demand to know what infrastructure they've built so far and what the progress looks like on the investments they've made and their planning, but evidently not. Straightline Climate is tracking 190 gigawatts across 777 large data centers that have been announced since 2024. It's a vast understatement to say that 190 gigawatts is a massive amount of power. The average power output of a single nuclear reactor in the US is about 1 gigawatt. And there's been only one nuclear power plant constructed in the United States in the last 30 years. It happens to be the largest one. The Vodko plant in Georgia generates about 4.6 gigawatts. The data centers that have been announced in the last 2.5 years require 41 of those. Building a data center is difficult. In fact, no one has built a 1 gigawatt data center yet. Let that sink in. They have planned for 190 gigawatts worth of data centers. No one has built a 1 gigawatt data center yet. Yet investors presumably believe that 190 gigawatts worth of them is going to be built in the next 6 years. Hyperscalers have said that 16 of the 190 gigawatts will come online in 2026 across about 140 projects, but only 5 gigawatts was under construction as of late February this year, and the remaining 11 gigawatts remains in the announced stage with no visible construction progress. Straightline says, quote, project delivery dates are getting harder to trust, end quote. And they think up to half the data center capacity slated for this year will be delayed. The hyperscalers are confronting a backlash from local communities and are increasingly giving up on existing power grids for AI training capacity. More on-site and hybrid approaches are likely for future projects, but nearly half of the announced project for the hyperscalers haven't disclosed how they'll power the planned centers. Ed Zitron spent a week searching for data centers that broke ground in 2023 or 2024 that have actually been finished and couldn't find one. Some projects are stuck in construction hell, he said, externally dueling with planning departments over permitting. Some are chugging along with no real substantive updates, and some have done effectively nothing for the better part of a year. Others are permanently adding more capacity to the order as a means of continually raking in construction bills, and some are claiming their data centers are operational as only a single phase has been turned on. And after the construction is finished, the buildings themselves must be fully fitted with the necessary power, cooling, and compute hardware. They need to be configured to meet their clients' specifications, and then maybe they can start to generate some revenue. Stargate Abilene, a data center campus which is supposed to reach 1.2 gigawatts, has 2 buildings online, generating about 200 megawatts. That's 0.2 gigawatts. The hyperscalers are being deceptive, and the media is making it worse by amplifying their tricks. For example, in October of last year, Amazon announced, quote, Project Rainier, one of the world's largest AI compute clusters, is now fully operational, end quote. If you don't know the difference between fully operational and fully built, you're obviously going to think the project is complete and fully online. It's not. Amazon finished construction of 7 of 30 planned buildings in the project and brought online a cluster of 500,000 chips. Fully operational means that the data center is officially online, not that the project has been completed. In fact, Project Rainier is a multi-phase $11 billion project that's supposed to draw up to 2.2 gigawatts across its 30 buildings. When the first of 8 buildings of Stargate Abilene opened, CNBC declared, quote, OpenAI's first data center in the $500 billion Stargate project is open in Texas, burying the comment that only one was operational with another nearly complete several hundred words later in the report. Also in that report, CNBC said, OpenAI, together with CoreWeave and other partners, said, quote, they're ahead of schedule to meet their full 10 gigawatt commitment by the end of 2025. Again, the tech companies are using word tricks that the media refuses to decode for the public. What the companies mean is that by the end of the year, they aimed to secure the commitments and locations for the 10 gigawatts, not to have construction planned, started, let alone have the power turned on. Building data centers and procuring that much energy takes years. 10 gigawatts is enough to power about 7.5 million homes. The scale of what has been announced, dreamed about, that's what you read in the headlines. What's actually being built is a small fraction of that, and what has actually been brought online is a small fraction of that. Examples of the hyperscalers and their clients, like OpenAI and Anthropic, obviously trying to mislead investors are endless. The media is complicit because in order to maintain their access to these companies, they know that they need to amplify their deceptive announcements. Microsoft says that its Fairwater data centers are operational, but they're actually unfinished. In September 2025, Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella claimed that Microsoft had added 2 gigawatts of capacity, quote, in the last year. He acted as if the Fairwater data center project, comprising of two actively constructed data centers, one in Wisconsin that broke ground in September of 2023, and another in Atlanta that broke ground in July of 2024, was something to be announced, rather than a very expensive project plagued by delays. To make matters worse, Nadella's announcement was in direct conflict with reporting from Ricardo Torres of the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel, who said that the data center Microsoft said was online was not. Fairwater sounds like a single data center site, but it actually refers to a project where multiple data centers are linked together with high-speed networking to make one large cluster. It's a massively ambitious project that remains under construction and may never be finished. In reality, Microsoft wasn't anywhere close to adding 2 gigawatts of capacity. In fact, Ed Zitron reported last week that none of Microsoft announced data center capacity since 2024 has been completed. I'll say that again. None of Microsoft's announced data center capacity since 2024 has been completed. Data centers are being built, but they're massive projects that are extremely difficult to complete, and they're taking much longer and facing many more challenges than the hyperscalers and their clients and the media evidently want you to believe. Last week, I entered a trade that seeks to profit from the coming stock market declines of the hyperscalers. If you'd like to learn about how I'm investing for my clients, download my second quarter investment outlook, The End of Easy Money. It's free at alpharockinvestments.com. Before you go, please like and subscribe to my channel. It helps me reach new viewers. To learn more about the AlphaRock client experience, contact me directly anytime. Links are in the description.